apologizing for charging a commission. What are y'all doing? I've never in my years seen so many salespeople that are panicked about charging a professional fee. What are you panicked about? Just because somebody in a comment thread somewhere said that you weren't worth what you charge, well, do they know you? Do they know your business? Have they interviewed you? If yes, then you do have to go back and ask yourself why they don't feel you're worth it. But if you never met them or they're a bot or some kind of a troll, then we need to ignore them altogether. Now, what if you went on an appointment with a potential client and they said, no, that's too expensive? Well, when somebody says you're too expensive, you have to ask yourself, am I Walmart or am I Neiman Marcus? Because you can't really be both. The world tells you you can be both. And in real estate for years, there was a common perception that the Walmarts and the Neiman Marcuses were all the same, but you're not the same, are you? What does the public get when they hire you? Do they get professionalism? I don't know, because I watch TikTok and Instagram far too much looking at other real estate agents. I'm not sure professionalism is what they're selling, but there are people that will pay for a less professional person or a professional one. Do you bring knowledge to the table? And that doesn't mean you have to have been 40 years in the business to have knowledge, because there are plenty of agents out there with 1 year's information times 40. That is not the same thing as a 40-year seasoned pro. There are also agents who have been in real estate for 5 minutes, but they came in and gunned for the knowledge, and they are a wealth of information. Which one is more valuable to the consumer? Which one defends the commission? Look, if you want to charge what you charge, then you should know this. If you've got the knowledge to back it up, you've got the professionalism in place, your market's going to dictate what you can and can't charge. And that means in classic business school information, we always talk about the price points and how they play out with demand. If you charge $1, you're going to have so much demand you can't service everybody. So you start raising rates until you find the number where some people tell you no and some people tell you yes, and that's a balance in your market. Now, if everyone tells you no based on what you charge, you're charging too much for what they get. If everyone tells you yes, you're charging too little for what they get. I think a lot of us just need to get our confidence back to say, wait a minute, I am valuable, but I've got to determine where my value sits in the marketplace. Now, in real estate in specific, there seems to be a common thread in the mainstream media that real estate pros aren't worth anything. Well, I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm a 25-year agent. There are some agents that aren't worth a toot. I've run into them myself. I wouldn't pay them, not a penny. But there are real estate professionals that are worth their weight in gold. And I value those real estate professionals. Oh my gracious, do I value them. In fact, I just purchased a property myself for my rental portfolio. I did not represent myself, even though that property was in North Carolina. The state would allow me to represent myself, but I value the knowledge and expertise of the professional who helped me. She asked questions about the property in the area where it's located that I wouldn't have known to ask as somebody who is a skilled and knowledgeable professional in my area. So was I glad to pay her? Oh, heck yes. What if she had been wet behind the ears, brand new, newly licensed? Would I still have paid her? It depends. I'd have to find out what she brought to the table. I'd have to find out where her knowledge base had grown. I still might have paid her, but it might have been different than what I paid this highly skilled, seasoned professional. Now, maybe you're watching this video and you're saying, but Leigh Brown, I don't have any information or knowledge. I'm clueless. Okay, where do I start? All right, start with finding a mentor. You have got to find a mentor, a broker, somebody that has the knowledge and will share it with you openly, transparently, and say, I've done this wrong, I've done this right, here's some information, help guide you in that pathway, and then sit with you when you have questions. In fact, go with you when you're meeting with a potential client, so that they can backstop your knowledge. My dad did that for me for years. I think it made me a great realtor because my dad, who is and was a great realtor, poured into me so that I would be better. And the consumer, by the way, was delighted to pay us because they said, hey, we get two for the price of one. I said, I know, we're basically a bargain. You get the father-daughter team. Well, now when they call me, they get me with all of my dad's old knowledge and all I've learned in 25 years and also all that I've learned by being involved in the political side of real estate. And so the people who call me know they're getting a great store of knowledge. But of course, some people aren't willing to pay for that. I'm okay with them going somewhere else for a less expensive option. They may find that was a far more expensive trade-off, but that's on them because we're in a free marketplace. Nobody's forced to do anything. So if you're going to stop apologizing for your commission, just go ahead and realize the consumer does have choices. And it might be hard for you to say no, thank you, please move along. But the hard things often build your business in a really great way. And it could be that you say, you know what, I'll take a lot less because I like you and I want to help you and I want to learn with you. And then the consumer says yes. And then you find yourself in a variable model. And that's also something that works for a whole lot of people. So maybe if you want to stop apologizing and you've started to gain some knowledge, you might say, I want to have a new business model. I'd like to be Walmart. I want to have people busting down my doors on Black Friday. You can make that choice. And maybe you want to be Neiman Marcus where they have the husband chairs at the door and say, husbands, just sit down and relax. It's going to be a minute because we're going to carefully curate the experience for your wife. We are going to be very thoughtful in the process and we're going to help just a few people, but they're going to pay a whole heck of a lot more than they pay over at the Walmart. You have that choice to make. So you're going to have to stop apologizing. Pick a business model, pick a rate, pick a plan, pick a niche in your area where you'd like to serve. And then you got to build your confidence up. Your confidence will allow you to say yes sometimes and no sometimes and sleep well at night either way. You can do this. Just remember that in sales, you only eat what you kill. But in order to kill something, you got to be out there hunting, which means you're going to talk to some people and they'll tell you yes, and you're going to love them. And some people are going to tell you no. But I want you to love them too, because when somebody tells you no, they're not saying no to you as an individual human. They're saying no to your business proposition, which means you then go back to square one and say, do I change my business proposition or am I glad this person went away? They're both valuable. They're both valid. And by the way, you're valid too. Don't let the chatter in a comment thread take you off your track because nobody's mind has ever been changed in a comment thread. So don't you be the first. Now, if you need me to talk about something else, drop it in the comments or argue with me or agree with me, whatever. But ask me a question because I'm here to pour into you, whoever you are.